Today, in what world leader talks like this news, NBC has obtained shocking audio of Donald Trump bragging to his wealthiest donors, saying that he apparently told Russian President Vladimir Putin he'd bomb Moscow if Putin invaded Ukraine, and Chinese President Xi Jinping that he would bomb Beijing if he were to invade Taiwan. The audio is from a campaign event in May of last year. It was obtained by Josh Dawsey, Tyler Pager, and Isaac Arnstorff for their book 2024. Take a listen.
To Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, we're going to bomb the out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. The public wants the public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way. And I said, way. And then he goes like, I don't believe you. But the truth is, he believed me 10%. And I told you this, he believed me 10%. Then I'm with President Xi of China. But I said the same thing to them. I said, you know, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb the out of Beijing. He thought I was crazy. He said, Beijing, you're going to bomb Beijing. I said, I have no choice. I got to bomb them. We're going to bomb Beijing. And he didn't believe me either, except 10%. And 10% is all you need. In fact, 5% would have been okay too. And we never had a problem. We would have never had a problem.
Joining our conversation, Msnbc columnist, author of the newsletter To the Contrary, Charlie Sykes is here, and the host of the Independent Americans podcast, founder and CEO of Independent Veterans of America, Paul Rieckhoff is here. Who wants to go first? Paul Rieckhoff, your reaction.
This is who he is. You know, there's a lot of things said about Donald Trump, but I think the most important thing to remember is he's the most undisciplined commander-in-chief we've ever had. He can't control himself. He doesn't show restraint, and it's especially glaring and dangerous on issues of national security. He's President Mayhem, and this is how he talks about all things. But when you're talking about attacks on foreign countries, after you just did strikes on Iran, it becomes extremely serious and dangerous. This is the most dangerous part of having Donald Trump as commander-in-chief, and it's perfectly on brand and consistent. And it's paralleled with Secretary Chaos in Hegseth, who is also extremely undisciplined and continues to be sloppy and mismanage situations. So this is the highest stakes possible, and we can't just dismiss it or laugh it off because our enemies are paying attention, our allies are concerned, and the entire world is watching.
Putin has no need for that now. He's just bombing the you-know-what out of Ukraine every time he waits till he hangs up and then does the opposite of what Trump asked him to do. Why do you think Russia and Putin's political strategy and sort of approach with Trump is so different this time?
I don't know if it's so different. I think it's been consistent. They're manipulating him. I mean, the former KGB agent and war criminal is manipulating our commander-in-chief, and the entire world can see it. And if maybe there's a silver lining here, it seems that either Trump has gotten frustrated by it or he's seeing the political wins, and he's actually changing his tone in relation to Russia. He's been a bit more aggressive in confronting Putin, and maybe more importantly, Russian sanctions are now coming from Republican-led leaders like Lindsey Graham, and there's a bipartisan support for a new sanctions bill. You're hearing from Republicans like Don Bacon and Mike Lawler. So the Republican Party is starting to be more vocal and more adamant in pushing Putin. And ultimately, I think that's good for Ukraine and good for America and good for our national security. And whether Trump is being manipulated to get to that place or he's just finally getting there, the net is now he's talking about giving Ukraine Patriots, which is long overdue, Patriot missiles, long overdue. He's talking about increasing sanctions, which is long overdue. And in the end, Zelensky needs this support, and he'll take it however he can get it.
Paul, I would add it's pretty, the reporting is solid, but it's also specific. It's not clear that that Donald Trump didn't know. It's the White House. It's Marco Rubio reacting badly here. Yeah,
sloppy, incompetent, and undisciplined. That is what has defined the Pentagon under Pete Hegseth's leadership. I mean, we've got President Mayhem and Secretary Chaos, and they're cut from the same cloth here. And when they're not coordinated, America's national security is at risk here. And I think there's something else happening, too. I mean, Hegseth continues to fumble. He continues to be out of touch. And he's, of course, trying to chase Donald Trump and his changes on policy, which happen by the minute. But I think he's losing Trump's trust as well. Trump is clearly frustrated with him. And at the end of the day, Trump's a grumpy old man. And he's losing his patience patience with Hegseth and with a lot of the people around him. So he could wake up tonight and just decide on X he's going to change secretaries of defense. And I think what's really important to understand is the disruption, the chaos, and the lack of stability at the Pentagon hasn't stopped. This has been there since he got there, and it's getting worse as the stakes continue to rise.